Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot on the Pagan Perspective. This week we're talking about spirit communication. I love this topic. Shadow Sun writes in, does spirit communication play a role in your practice? And Althaea, writes in, general communication with spirits and feeling spiritual energy through body parts. Both dealing with spiritual communication or spirit communication, and this is a topic that I absolutely love. I'm going to address the last one first, the first one last. So here goes. So feeling spirit through body parts, certain body parts. And they also write in that they feel through their right leg and their friend feels through their spine. Okay, I can relate to the spine one because right in the center of my back, and I'm kind of like, yeah, so yeah, right here, that is usually where I feel spirit's presence. So it's kind of like right where my heart chakra would be on the back side. So if you were to take that heart chakra, and yes, my shirt does say no one should live in a closet. If you take where the heart chakra is and you place it on the back, which the heart chakra is this entire area, if you take that, that is normally where I feel spirit come through, like between the shoulder blades, a little bit below. That's where I feel spirit's presence. Another thing that I feel is kind of a little bit with my hands. I don't really deal with psychometry a lot, but I do feel a little bit with my hands as far as spirits. And a lot of times, like right here in the back of my head, that one, and I am clairsentient, clairsensing, and I am claircognizant, clear knowing. And a lot of times also in the solar plexus, I get just the gut feeling. So yeah, I'm not like clairaudient or clairvoyant. I don't see spirits. I don't necessarily always hear them. Sometimes I do, but usually I just get a sense of somebody's there. And usually whenever I start picking up that somebody's there, I start getting a couple images, which goes to clairvoyance, yes I know, but I start getting it in my head just a little bit, or that clear knowing of, okay, I know this is what they're trying to get across. Recently I had that happen with somebody that I'm seeing, that their mother had passed away, and I said to him, I said, you know, okay, this is like the second day that we've been talking. I said, okay, was your mother a stern woman, because she says, don't hurt my son? And he's like, yeah, it kind of sounds like her. I said, okay. And was it something with the heart or the chest lungs region? And he says, we didn't get an autopsy done, but it seems to be something with the heart. I said, okay. I said, I think that's her. I said, and she's a little bit stern, and she's a little like upset at me, but she's standing there as a warning of, don't hurt my son or else you will get hurt. And I said, I understand that. So she can go away. Usually I am fairly nice, and to answer the first question of, does spirit communication have a place in my practice? Yes, it does. One of the things that brought me to my practice is spirit communication. I absolutely love communicating with spirit in any way possible, whether it's through a pendulum, whether it's through a Ouija board, whether it's through just sitting there and meditating. One of the best ways to connect with the spirit is whenever I have Chip, but this obviously isn't Chip. You guys might have seen Chip in a previous video. I think I've shown him on this channel. Chip is my orb, my crystal ball, who is a quartz crystal. But I will sit there with Chip, and I will just sit there, and for one, I will take off the rings first, but I will sit there with Chip, and I will just meditate, and whoever comes through, and whoever doesn't, and whoever comes through, if they're good, they can stay. If they're not so nice people or entities of sorts, then they can just toddle off, because ain't nobody got time for that. But crystals are a great way to start connecting, and at least for me. And if you are not a crystal person, if you don't do the whole crystal collecting thing and all that, if you just get yourself a quartz crystal, let's see how close I can get here. If you get yourself a quartz crystal, kind of like this one where you can see in there, let's see if I can get my head out of there, and you have these little inclusions. If you focus on those inclusions and you just follow those inclusions just through the crystal and all that, and you just keep your eye on them and you just follow those with your eye, it's a wonderful meditative practice to go through. So I do suggest trying that out if you're just getting into spirit communication. Sooner or later you will probably find out that you can feel spirit in some way, shape, or form. Start paying attention to that. Start noticing when that happens for you, because certain people will react in different ways. Your right leg might be where you're feeling spirit. You might feel a tingle in your right calf or in your knee or something like that, where it just tingles for some reason. You might feel like I do in my back, where it's almost like a pressure point. It's like, oh, okay, who's there? It's like whenever I was little, my brother used to, because my brother's mean, he would take his thumb and he like push into the pressure points in your back, and he'd just make you just walk like this. So yeah, I had one of those brothers. But if if you're like me and you get that little pressure point and you start tensing up, you're like, okay, somebody's there. And you're like, who is it? It's like, you don't have to be so harsh. Just lighten up a little. It tingles, but I can deal with a little bit of tingling. Just don't press too hard. If you're like me, that's something that you you start welcoming more and more. And you start sitting in that moment of being with that spirit and saying, okay, are you here for a purpose? Are you here, trying to get a message across to somebody? These are things that you start learning what your little feelings are, and what it is that that starts that communication process, how they get your attention, basically. I know with like the Long Island medium, you start seeing her lips going, yeah, and she'll go, yeah, like that. And you know that whenever she starts doing that she's starting to communicate with spirits. Now, I don't know how legit of a medium that she is, but I'd like to think that she's legit. But that's how, certain people react, and other people like me, or like Althaea, right? It was Althaea that asked this question. I just lost it. Where did it go? Yes, Althaea. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. How they feel it in their leg, or their friend feels it in their back. People feel them in different ways, and you start noticing how they come through. So as far as all that, yeah, that's how I do. Like I said, spirit communication in my practice is a huge thing. That's how I actually got started, starting to connect with family members and whatnot, and then later on connecting with people outside of my family. It's just been a fulfilling way of me being in this world, that I can help some spirits pass over, that I can pass on messages from other spirits, and to kind of validate that, some people's family members are present here, in that they have passed on, that they are doing okay. So, I mean, for me, a lot of it's just like kind of just sitting in that moment with them and communicating. But in other instances, it's part of a give and take between me and the other person that might be there. So, yeah, I mean, might be there physically. So yeah, it is a big part in my practice, and as you can tell, I kind of really enjoy talking about this topic. So I can't wait to see what the other hosts say on this topic. Kind of loving it. But I gotta get going, so until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.